So Achish finally summoned David and said to him, "I swear by the Lord that you have been a trustworthy ally. I think you should go with me into battle, for I have never found a single flaw in you from the day you arrived until today." But the other Philistine rulers won't hear of it. I find it interesting and maybe even a little odd that Achish would be swearing by Israel's God. I mean, I guess it's possible that he believed in the same God, but I also wonder if that was done to appeal more so to David and his upbringing, his sensitivities, all that kind of stuff. What's up, cool people? My name's Matt. Welcome back to our Bible study. Alright, we're looking at 1 Samuel 29. So, currently, Saul and the Philistines are about to fight. Well, Israel and the Philistines are about to fight. Saul, being the king of Israel, is in charge of Israel's armies. David is actually on the Philistine side of this, because he was fleeing from Saul in order to, spare his own life, because Saul wanted to kill him, because he was worried that David was going to take his throne. But David's living with the Philistines and being expected to fight against Israel in this upcoming battle. Saul, a little worried about his situation when he sees the Philistine army that's against him. Tries to hear from the Lord, can't. But because he wants some sort of word on what to do in the situation or what might happen, he decides to consult a medium, despite the fact that he had banned those. So he consults one to appeal to Samuel. Samuel, from the dead, basically tells him, it's not good for you. You're not in God's favor because of bad things you've done previously. And you're about to die in this battle that's coming up. So that's what's been going on leading up to this chapter here. So, here we go. 1 Samuel 29. The entire Philistine army now mobilized at Aphek, and the Israelites camped at the spring in Jezreel. As the Philistine rulers were leading out their troops in groups of hundreds and thousands, David and his men marched at the rear with King Achish. But the Philistine commanders demanded, "What are these Hebrews doing here?" And Achish told them, "This is David, the servant of King Saul of Israel. He's been with me for years, and I've never found a single fault in him from the day he arrived until today." Okay, so something that is possibly relevant, in fact, probably relevant to this situation. The Philistines had multiple different kings, at least last I knew. It mentioned, I think, earlier in 1 Samuel that they had like 5 different kings. And so King Achish was just one of them. Since David was only with him, the other kings of the Philistines don't really have a clue what's been going on with David. So they, unsurprisingly, are skeptical because they know that David was fighting against them before. He was a commander of Saul's armies. Before he had to flee, he had slain Goliath, their champion. So it's not real surprising that the other Philistine kings and their people wouldn't have been too keen on the idea of David being involved. David, for his part, seemed like he was willing to go through with this. But, he can't control how the other Philistine kings feel about him. But then we get to verse 4. But the Philistine commanders were angry. "Send him back to the town you've given him," they demanded. "He can't go into battle with us. What if he turns against us in battle and becomes our adversary? Is there any better way for him to reconcile himself with his master than by handing our heads over to him? Isn't this the same David about whom the women of Israel sing in their dances, 'Saul has killed his thousands and David his 10,000s'? Yeah. So all that right there is why these other Philistine commanders didn't want David there with them. They didn't want David involved in this at all, as much as it could possibly be under their control. So David seems fine with it, Achish seems fine with it, but these other guys not so much. So they're basically telling Achish, look, this guy has been a menace to our people. We can't risk the chance that he turns on us. So just send him to whatever town you have set up for him. He's got to sit out of this, lest he turns on us and, you know, basically betrays us to Saul and the Israelite army. Then we get to verse 6. So Achish finally summoned David and said to him, "I swear by the Lord that you have been a trustworthy ally. I think you should go with me into battle, for I have never found a single flaw in you from the day you arrived until today. But the other Philistine rulers won't hear of it. Please don't upset them, but go back quietly." So essentially Achish relents and sends David back. I find it interesting that he swears by the Lord. There's no, like, especially with it being rendered like that in all caps in Bibles like this, like that can only be the Lord, the God of Israel. There's no other God who is referred to that way. So I find it interesting and maybe even a little odd that Achish would be swearing by Israel's God. I mean, I guess it's possible that he believed in the same God, but I also wonder if that was, you know, done to appeal more so to David and his upbringing, his sensitivities, all that kind of stuff. Basically making this statement mean more to David, that Achish would have been fine with it, but it's the others who aren't having it. So he asks David to go back quietly, and then we get to verse 8. "What have I done to deserve this treatment?" David demanded. "What have you ever found in your servant that I can't go and fight the enemies of my lord the king?" But Achish insisted, "As far as I'm concerned, you are as perfect as an angel of God. But the Philistine commanders are afraid to have you with them in battle. Now get up early in the morning and leave with your men as soon as it gets light." So David and his men headed back into the land of the Philistines, while the Philistine army went on to Jezreel. So, yeah, also, all this, while they were kind of, I mean, it says in verse 2, as the Philistine rulers were leading out their troops. So, like, they were pretty much just steps away from actually engaging in this battle. And, like, I guess at the last second, sort of, they notice David there, and they're just like, wait, no. We can't have this guy here. Are you kidding me? And as much as Achish protests and insists that David is fine. David has done nothing wrong the entire time that he has lived in Philistia. The others still don't like the idea. So, David is wondering what he's done wrong, but, like, the other commanders have no idea. They haven't, like, seen him and heard reports of him during all this time, in all likelihood. I mean, unless he would have been going out there and getting, like, absolutely massive victories for them, but that's not what was implied before by saying he was just going out on raids to different towns. So, yeah, raids generally weren't as significant in terms of, you know, military operations. But yeah, David asks what he's done wrong, but Achish is like, no, you're fine, you've done nothing wrong, it's just the other guys don't want you here, I'm sorry. So then after some convincing, David goes back. But that's all I got for 1 Samuel 29. Alright, so we got another pretty short chapter there. Basically, David's ready to go, willing to fight alongside the Philistines against Israel. King Achish is like, yeah, should be all good. Other Philistine commanders are like, nope, we're not having it. He might turn against us. Achish tries to reassure him. They still don't like the idea. He tells David. David's like, what did I do? He says, no, you're fine. The other commanders just don't like the idea. So then David goes away from the battle. There you go. There's the Cliff Notes speed version, too long didn't watch, of 1 Samuel 29. So anyway, as always, like and share if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell if you're on YouTube to get updates when I post new videos. If you're seeing this anywhere else, give me a follow or whatever you got to do for that platform. Look down in the description for info on other social media pages and how to find and follow all my activity. And below that, leave comments with any thoughts you have. So that's going to do it for now. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you soon for another video. But whatever the case is, until next time, stay cool, people.